I'm back. Yeah, I really am. What have we got today? Well, we got this thing here. It's called a professional digital load box from 2 Notes. It's called a Torpedo Live. It'll go down a bomb. I had to say that. Well, what's this all about? Well, let me tell you. I've always harped on about how you should support your local guitar shop. You know, that sort of thing. And often I do. I go along to my local guitar shop, the Academy of Sound. It's either co-uk or com, take your pick. It'll be one of them. And they sell me bits of kit, or gear as we say in America. But the truth of it is that sometimes I could buy it cheaper, but they're a friendly bunch. I throw them a box of sweets at Christmas and they all dive in and they're like a bunch of wild dogs, if the truth's known. But anyway, the fact is, I like them. They're great guys. And they'll always help you if they can. So sometimes it's worth paying that extra bit. Well, what am I doing with this? Well, let me tell you what I'm doing with this. I went in to the guitar store last Saturday to get one of these. You've seen them, a guitar strap. Let me throw that out there. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, so I went to get this guitar strap and I got one for my grandson. I got some of them strap lock things because they're all local. You've got to support them. And I got chatting to Chris, the guy I usually grab when nobody else will listen. And he said, "Hey, come with me. I've got something I want to show you." Well, he's a bit of a big guy and I was getting a little bit concerned about that. But the truth is, I like Chris. He's okay, but I don't like him that much. He said, "No, come with me." So I followed him and he was showing me all these pedals. You know, I did a review recently on Baroni lap pedals, vintage pedals. I was saying to him, well, I want something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, that you can't just, find on every corner stall. What have you got? And he scratched his head for a second and he looked up to the top of the cabinet and he said, "You want one of them?" That's how the story goes. So I said to myself, what on earth's he talking about? Looks like another one of my VEX units, you know how they are. Millions of them. I've got a pile of them. He said, "No, wait a moment. This is a professional digital load box. So this is how you use it. What you do, you've got some pictures in here. I always like pictures, don't you? I think you've got some pictures. Yeah, there they are. And if you have a quick look at that, you've got an on-stage one and an in-the-studio one. Well, I'm interested in the in-the-studio one. See that? And there's an on-stage one. It's all good. Anyway, the in-studio one, you come out of your guitar, into your amp, it says, feed your amp into the box, and then what you can do is you can take a USB out to your computer or audio interface from the other SPDIF or SPDIF, as some people say, and away you go. You're recording. Well, I've got different things to get it into me, into the desk and things like that. But basically, you don't really need a speaker cab. If you notice, there isn't one. We're on this other scenario here. Well, there still isn't one, but there is, if you follow me. Because on both of these, you're pulling it out the back of the amp and feeding it into this. And this inside's got one of those attenuators. That's what we'll call it. A thing that can put a load on your amp without having any output. Well, there is output, but in different ways. So in this one, they push it into the rack, out of the rack into your mixing desk, and then off into the PA. What could be simpler than that? Don't need the speakers. Get rid of your 4x12s. And the reason you can do that is this thing's full of them. It's full of 4x12s, 1x12s, All sorts of bi-12s, and B8s, and B6s, I think, or 4s, or you name it, they're in there. Oh, what's that about? Well, the first thing it does is it allows your amp to load up. You know, when you crank an amp, it sounds different, doesn't it? Then, you know, one of those little quiet things. You don't want one of them, you want to crank it all the way up, but it blows your ears off. Well, you can crank it up into this, and this will take care of the load, and it's got a fan down here and all sorts of stuff. We'll have a look inside in a minute, don't worry. You might be surprised at what you find. But Tony always shows you that, doesn't he? Yeah, and then it'll look after the simulations of the speaker cabinet, and it will push them out to wherever you want them to go. So it's got different mics, it's got all sorts of different combinations of things in there, and what that really does is allow you to get like the pros. You know, when you've seen the videos of people in the studio and they've got these top producers, haven't they? You and I don't afford them. Well, we couldn't afford them. Well, you couldn't. Okay, you get the top producer, and he has his own microphone types and his own amps and his own this and his own that, and he spends half a day setting it all up, and you get this brilliant sound, don't you? And you listen to your recordings and they're crap, aren't they? Well, that's because he's good and we're not. I'll say we, because I don't get them sounds either. However, along comes the Torpedo load box, into the mixer, into your PA, into whatever you fancy on the output side, as long as it's audio. And you're going to sound like a mega god. You're going to have that producer setting everything up for you, effectively. There's loads of settings. I mean, you just, one preset after the other. You go all the way up to 99, which I think is quite nice. 99 of them. You couldn't do it in a lifetime. Would you want to? I certainly wouldn't. I like to just plug in and play. What more could you need? Now, there is other stuff around. You can get a plug-in, even from 2 notes, that will go into your recording software. Let's call it that. And simulate this. Well, that's all well and good, but it hasn't got the load box, and you can't get the real amp in and the same, you know, that sort of thing. So this is more. This is 2 notes more. Yeah, sounds a good idea. So when you got one of these, don't worry about the plugins and things, because it's all here. And just off camera over there, which you're going to see later, is how you can set this up to exactly what you want. And you can go through all the presets and choose the microphones, the speakers, the distances of the mic, and trust me, it's all good stuff. Now the thing is about this piece of kit, it's not cheap. Over here in England, so I know you Americans say that, England, it's great, I love to say that. I just wish I was English. Because English people don't say that, they say England, like I do. Anyway, rock and roll. Yeah, it's about £700, or quids as they say in England sometimes. Well, that's about $1,100. Maybe a bit more. Yeah, it's real money in England. Not that Mickey Mouse stuff. Anyway, the thing is, it could be cheaper in Europe, but it's highly unlikely to be cheaper anywhere. To me, it all comes across as a sort of standard price, if you get what I mean. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And that's where your local dealer comes in. You support him, and just trust me on this. He's going to support you somewhat as well. He might help you a little bit, you know. You know what I mean. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, as Monty Python said. Yeah. Now listen, that price at £700, give or take, might have been £750 even, I don't know, 700 and something. Includes 20% tax here over here in England. Now some of you guys over there are in 7% tax. Lucky you. And they might have the product a bit cheaper if you fished around and things, but you know, that local dealer, let me tell you how good this one is. He loaned me this for free. Now when he loaned it me for free, I promised to help him. I said, look, I'll talk about you, Mr. Dealer, on the video. In fact, I tell you what, Chris, I said, you can come over and plug her in on the Sunday. Well, it's only Thursday now, so he's going to be coming over Sunday, which comes up in a moment on this video, of course. And we're going to plug it in and do some comparisons between a few different things, such as microphones and speakers and this and the simulations and all the rest of it. It's all going to be good, that is. But before all that, because this is an inside and outside review, like I normally do, we're going to flip the lid off and have a close-up and see what's going on inside, because that's a lot of money for just a bit of a rack. I'm just wondering what's inside. It must have loads of kit inside for that sort of money. I mean, let's face it, it's not pence, is it? Okay, so that's the plan. I'm going to move this down onto the desk, take the lid off, and we're going to zoom in and have a quick look at what I think's in there. No guarantees I know what it is, but at least we can have a look. Hold on. Well, here we are. Here's the 2 notes, live, digital load box, sorry, professional digital load box, no, the art form, with its lid off. It's having a nice look inside. Well, let's have a quick look, and then we'll maybe zoom in a bit. It's not much to zoom into looking at it. What have we got anyway? Well, at the front down here, you've got a panel. This is the sort of ribbon cable that comes across to your front panel. You've got a little bit of I/O there, and it all goes into this board. So that's the front panel. I'm not even going to waste my time getting there. There's hardly anything to see. Over here, you've got a power supply. Now that power supply, I mean, I've seen a few power supplies in my time, and that one doesn't look particularly that dynamic. I mean, it's going to do the job, don't get me wrong there. But I mean, to be honest, if I was paying any more than about $6 for that power supply, if it was coming from China, I'd be disappointed. I'd be livid, in fact. Moving along a bit, we then move on to this board here, which appears to be the main I/O board and control board. It controls everything else. This is where it's got its little microprocessor, little bit of memory on there, and other good bits of stuff such as firmware. That's it. I/O. A couple of things down here that you can see for adjusting the parameters. Got an input there, and they all go back to that board, and there's the input and output at the back with a MIDI. So there's a bit of MIDI on there, there's a USB on there. What else we got there? Let's just take a look. You've got a SPDIF or SPDIF, take your pick. You've got this one here is line out, that one's line in, and we'll look at the other two a bit further down. So you can see there's not really much in that section, and there's not really much in that section, there's not really much across the front. So what have we got down here? This must be worth a fortune. Well, is it? Is it worth a fortune? Well, I doubt it, but let's have a look what we've got. You've got a board here. This board's all to do with speakers. So you've got an input here, right there, comes in there for the speakers, and this one's called the through. So you could bring it in there and take it out there down to 4x12 if you really wanted to. But the great thing about it is you don't have to take it back out, because these resistors and one or two things elsewhere down there are all to do with a load. It's a load box, that's what they call it, remember? So this replaces the sort of the element of speakers from your tube amp output, or regular amp output, I guess, for that. You know, speakers are speakers, aren't they? Yeah, so we've got this little thing here, this heat plate, or cooling plate. We've got a couple of bits and pieces down the bottom. We've got this board here, and that's really it. Oh, I lie, we have a fan right there. So as far as the insides of this unit are concerned, you don't really get much for your money. However, It all depends on what it does, right? You can see the quality of the thing. I mean, it's well made enough. I'm not sure if there's anything about actually where it's made. Well, actually, it does say on the back of the unit, made in France, but that can be a very misleading thing. I mean, this might all be made in France. It might be. That might be why it costs 700 quid or pounds. If it was made in China, it'd be about $100, give or take. Probably $100. I don't know. So, if the French want to make it in France and charge you all that extra money, I'm sure that they won't sell as many. But that's just life, isn't it? Then again, you've got a little bit of development on it, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and some nice white paint. And away you go. There's your £700 or your $1,100, or give or take, whatever it is. My personal view, go get it made in China and make it for $100. I'm going to put the lid back on and let's zoom back up top, and we'll have a look at the I/O. So across the front we've got an input level, we've got a setup button, preset adjuster for the parameters, output level and value, hold to save or editing, headphones on and off. That's about it across the front, except for this at this side, which is all to do with that load box. Well, basically it's a big giant fat resistor. That's basically the top and bottom of that. And that's all you get on the front. Let's have a look around the back. And here's the back view of it. One thing you will notice straight off, that this is IEC 100 to 240 volts AC, so it's an auto switching power supply, so no matter where you are you can plug in and go. That's good. USB I/O, that's for remote management and all sorts of stuff which we'll get to. It's got a MIDI in, SPDIF out, line out, and a line input. It's also got that input for your speaker. Notice it's only in 8 ohms. Notice that there's no 16 or 4s or 2s even. And a through if you want to take it down to the speaker. That's about it. Always connect your amp, it says here. Your output to a suitable load. Do not set your amp master volume to max in order to avoid possible damage. Yeah, do not set your, you don't want to be setting it to maximum, do you? It's got the little fan there, and the made in France. It proudly puts on at the back, if you can just about see that, just off the end there. Yeah, what more can I say? It's a nice off-white colour. It says 2 notes on it, that's about it. Pretty boring round the back. Let's flip it back and go. Okay, so I decided to go straight to the PC. Don't worry about it, let me get the mouse around here. What we got? Well, we got this little window here that opens up when your Torpedo is connected. It's telling me there's a new firmware version, but then I have to assign this unit to my account. Now I don't want to do that because it's been loaned by the Academy of Sound.com or co.uk, I think they are. And you know, I don't really want to do that, so I'm just going to ignore that and say later. And what you'll get is you get this sort of control room. It's all very nice. I say control room. There's the room. We've got some of these things across the back. I don't know if you can click them, can you? I don't know. Pointers, there's the mic, there's the speaker. We've got a load of parameters around here that we can start to change. Straight off you've got this section over here which we can download, and it's telling you you can have the crunch or this or that, or there's loads of stuff in there. I hope you can see it. Let me see if I can zoom a bit closer. Bear with me. There we go. You get the idea. So you can see all these amps down here, or at least channels for want of a better word I suppose. And then we've got the meter. We've got power amp on or off. Well, this particular one it's off, but if I was to whiz around, you'll see pretty soon. And I'm doing that on the hardware. Hey, but there's one preset called line clean. I guess we get down to line lead 2. There it is. More can you say? Volume, presence, depth, pentode or triode. You've got all these different tubes you can use. Let me just see if I can open them. There we go. Down here. we can choose whether it's a guitar or bass or user. Nothing in the user, some in the bass, bass, and the cabinets. It's all very nice. I believe you can capture your own cabinets too, which is also nice. They probably won't be as nice as theirs though. Then we got this little section here. I've got an on and off. I haven't touched any of this any more than you have. Distance and centres and things. You can manually move this thing around to wherever you fancy. You can have it at the front or at the back of the cab. Why you'd want to do the back, who knows? Speak to those pro producers, they'll tell you. Then we got guitar or bass for the EQ. We can turn that on or off. You can see it sort of greys out when we don't want to see it. Does this one do? I think that's, yeah, gain. Monitoring, on or off. Control the, what else we got here? Send, AKG, there you go. Quick previews. I haven't really done anything with it yet, and I probably won't do much with it at all, because I like to do reviews of this stuff with the presets. And the reason for that is if it don't sound any good on the presets, no manufacturer anywhere makes anything that sounds crap by design when it comes out the box. Right? If it sounds crap when it comes out the box, it probably is crap. But that's another story. Now we can look at presets. We've got all these presets we can whiz down. You can see them. Good idea of some of these. Okay. And various bits on the Torpedo. They're already there. Okay. And then you've got loads of empty ones. I did actually push that one across earlier. And you pick it up and drag it and place it where you want. Or you can bin it. Then we've got a memory section, which is what's in the memory of the Torpedo. Again, bass guitar, and so on and so forth. Mess around with that. Cabin mic, choices. Now you've got all these user ones that aren't set up. I'm not going to set them up either. And then lastly we've got the setup screen, which appears to be quite simple. A few choices, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. It's all so far so good. It looks good. Feels good. The software looks cracking. Well, good in American. I'm a little bit concerned about inside. There's not as much as I'd like to see in there. It's all a bit vague, isn't it? But it's not going to be vague when we get it outside. In a few minutes, in fact. And, well, a few minutes to you, a few days to me. It'll go outside and we'll run through some of these settings, and like I said, this is what's coming up next. We'll try and simulate with a couple of mics and different things on some cabinets, and then see if we can find them in here. Or maybe even sample it up. I don't know. We'll see what we do when we get out there. And I'll have Chris to help me from the Academy of Sound. Should all be good. Yeah. Their website, by the way, it's right just there. Can you see it? So, first of all, if you're in the UK, they're a good bunch of guys. You should be support your local dealer, or support a dealer. You know, get a favourite. And these are as good as any guys. So, because if they weren't, I wouldn't be in there. But it's good up until lend it to me, because if it's a pile of crap, you mark my words, I'll be telling you. It don't matter what Chris says. I'm doing making the video, and I'm like that. I always like to say, if it's any good, it is good, and if it's no good, it is no good, right? I have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. So that's coming up now, and it should all be interesting. Yo, here we are out in the studio, and I've got my mate Chris. Well, he is a mate because he's loaned me this thing here. Yeah. To give a bit of a a blow job too, is that right, Chris?
Maybe not a blow job, we're going to give it a blowout, I think.
A blowout.
That is the correct
Oh,
term.
rock and roll. Now listen, this is one of them. It says here it's a torpedo. Now it might go down like a bomb. What do you think?
That should sink a few battleships, yeah.
You seem a bit. My God, you got the cat hat on, man.
Well, you know, I thought I'd fit the part, you know.
Well, I don't know what to say. Yeah, well, you look a bit of a pussy. But don't worry.
Thanks, Tony.
What's that shirt you got, dude?
My new grad shirt. Rock
A
and roll
grad
till I die.
shirt?
Yeah.
I thought they were for old people like me.
Maybe
Grad
I
shirt.
can loan it to you then, too.
You're going to own it, mate. I've got my own, man. Look.
I'll do a swap, mate.
I've got a picture of the missus on the front.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
looking good as always.
Anyway, we're going to get on with this stuff because we could do this all day. It's like Tom and Jerry. I'll be Tom.
I'll be the cat. I'll be the mouse. Yeah, Jerry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you'll be. Yeah, I'll be Tom. Yeah, that's right. He's
right,
the
Tom.
kid. Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Torpedo Live by Two Notes Audio Engineering. Imagine the scenario. You haven't got a massive studio like Tony here has here. You've got a little bedroom. Your little bedroom.
This is not a
Or a
bedroom.
little box room where you want to record.
A box room.
Now, you've gone out, you've bought the best valve amplifier you've always wanted. Something like
The
a
Marshall.
good Marshall.
Satcham.
Or something like one of the old JTM 45s,
Alright.
or something
Oh, yeah.
something really cool. Now, you know, to get the boost out of it, you've got to crank it. To get the great sound out of it, get the tone, get the warmth from the valves. You've got to put it through a cab. Only thing is, you've got the missus downstairs or in the next room, you've got kids trying to sleep next door, you can't crank it.
And then neighbours, man.
So you
I've
can't
got
get
some of them.
Yeah. So you can't get the best sound out of it to get you nice recording. Hence why Two Notes introduced and brought these amps out. What you have to do is simply plug in the speaker out from your head directly into the Torpedo Live. Then you can either use your headphones for practicing with, or you can use the line out straight into the desk, which we're going to hear in a second, and you can record to your heart's content without disrupting anybody at all. Great little product.
I said enough now. No, stop selling it.
Alright, I'll stop saying.
Listen, if it's crap, don't worry about him. I'll tell you it's crap. He'll tell you it's great. Ignore him. He's one of them.
I'm the enemy.
No, he's not one of them. He's one of them.
Yeah, I'm not one of them.
No, don't do that.
No.
I know he's giving you the sales blurb. Listen, let's not worry about sales blurb. All you're going to do is plug it in. Ignore what he said. You know he is. Well, you don't, do you?
We're the salesmen, we're not to be trusted.
We're going to plug it, not to be trusted. He's normally got a tie on, right? Well, no, yeah.
Not quite a tie.
No, not a tie, no.
Rope normally. Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, it's going to be a real review, right?
It's going to be a real review. Real review.
None of this crap, right?
No.
And when it all comes out, it's going to be good, which is any time now. So the first one we've got on the sound, straight to the desk, by the way, is
Marshall 1968 with vintage 30s cab with an SM57 microphone.
Now we're going to do it. Hold on. There he is. Ibanez. You've seen it. If you haven't seen it, go to my channel and there's a review of it. And he's going to play it, and I'm getting in the control room to twiddle my knob. Alright?
Yeah, and if you want to do some recording as well.
Here we go. 2 we did before, which is the clean channel, and everything else the same as what you just heard. Okay, this one's channel 3, red, same as before, except it's a bit of a 7-string.
Bit of a 7-string.
Go. We're stripping down a bit so we can get this mic on, actually on the camera. You see here, it's about 3'6" out. That's what it said. The mic was 3 to 3'6" out and off centre. So that's what we've done. Now, all the settings you're going to hear are exactly the same as the first settings that we did. So, but without that unit, with the real amp.
Yeah.
It may get loud.
Might get loud.
So here we go. Hold on a moment. Oops, who's knocked that? Ooh. Okay, so JCM 800, vintage 30s, SM57, through the cab for real. Here we go. Just as it was before, JCM 800 style, vintage 30, SM57. Okay, Chris.
Click on.
Channel 3 red, and all the settings are the same as they were before, except it's through a real speaker card. Okay, Chris?
Okay.
I'm back. Well, after seeing the torpedo go down, as we say, what do I think about it? You know, is it good value? Does it do what it says on the tin? Well, you'll make your mind up from that on the video that's just gone past. But for me, I thought really there were a few things that are a little bit concerning, but there are a few things that were okay about it. You know, stepping back and thinking about it a little bit, you have to wonder where the money's invested. I mean, for example, when you're talking about a load box, which that is partly what it is, you can get a good load box for $150 if you fish around a little bit. And okay, that's $150 from say 1100 or £720 or something in the UK. So that makes it £600 or say $900, it's still a lot of money for that tiny little board and that tiny little PSU. So as far as the hardware was concerned, I thought that it was, well, to be honest, it's overpriced by a fair way indeed. And I was quite shocked when I took the lid off, as you would be, and as indeed probably you were. But hey, it's not all about hardware, is it? You know, the Torpedo Live is designed for a very specific use. You don't have to lug a load of stuff around with you if you don't want to, particularly in the studio, I guess, but you don't have to have them speakers blaring. You can get straight into the desk, or you could push it off to the PA, or so on and so forth. So it does have its uses, and as well as the hardware, of course, there's all that software and the work involved in that, and that's actually quite depthy. I only just skimmed the surface with it, trust me on this. So there's that aspect as well. And also consider that the Torpedo Live can be used for bass or guitar, so it's a dual purpose type of product. And you know, one of the major things that changes the way your guitar sounds, apart from the guitar pickups and the amp itself, is actually the cab and the way that it's mic'd. And you know, there's so many combinations in there that really you probably could get a similar sound to the pros if you spent the time on it and double tracked or quad tracked, whatever you do. So maybe, you know, saying that it's well overpriced is probably wrong. But I could also adopt the other attitude and say, well, it's just a DI box with a load box. Where's the money gone? But the 2 Notes Torpedo is supposed to be one of the best units around, and they made a number of models. This wasn't classed as, I don't think, the best one, but best's a funny word. If you've never had one before, it's probably the best one you'll have. So overall, on this review, where would I rate the product? You know, out of a scale of 1 to 10. Well, for me, I'd rate it at about 6.5 or 7. And the only reason that it's really marked down a little bit is the price, because I think it's overpriced for what it is. You know, IRs and all that sort of stuff today. You can do it in other ways and cheaper, much cheaper indeed. So 6.57 maximum, but I guess it's worth that. Oh, and I want to thank the guys at the Academy of Sound.co.uk, that's the real name, in particular Chris, for loaning me the unit to test, because I would never have bought one myself. I don't really have that much of a use for it. I've got so many mics and so many speaker cabs I could sound the same anywhere, I guess. But to be fair, it can be a very much quicker way of achieving great tones if that's what you're trying to get at, particularly for recording. So Academy of Sound, thanks very much. Well, what's coming next, I hear you ask? Well, one of the things that's coming next is this pick. There it is, I've got 2. And one I pulled out. It's like a big giant tooth. In fact, it's a dragon's heart pick. It looks more like a shark's tooth to me, but there you go, it depends what you like. This guy here clearly likes dragons. I'm not sure whether he hand makes them or whatever it is he does with them, but it's a little dragon on the front too. So we'll come and have a review of that. It's an unusual shape, if you can see it from there. If you can't, I'll hold it up to the light. Yeah, so that's going to come up presently in one of my reviews. And the other thing that's coming up is an Eventide H9. And I bought this recently when I was over in the USA. It was a little bit cheaper than it was here. Well, it was a lot cheaper than it was here. And I bought it back, and yes, thanks very much, I do have a power supply for it. Not theirs, mine. But actually, if I remember right, the power supply on this one is actually 100 to 240 volts. So that'll be coming up. And this is not the cheap cut down version, this is the full blown version. And you get a free algorithm, it says. So that's all looking good, because Eventide equipment, probably some of the best effects units in the world. Particularly when you come back to the sort of things that this H9 does. So we're looking forward to doing that one too. It's all going to be good. Oh, and I'll be doing another video actually playing the private stock PRS, and that might change your mind on how good it is or how bad it is or things like that. Actually, it sounds great. So, although I was a little bit picky on some of the review of that instrument, well, playing it changes things a little bit. But I did take the strings down to 9s because I can't do with 10s. It's just too heavy, man. I've got some other reviews coming up as well, but we'll keep them in the dark for now. Well, keep you in the dark for now, should I say. Thanks for watching. Visit my website, www.tonymckenzie.com, if you want to see some other things. I'm starting to try and update that now. I've put the holding pages in there ready. And we'll go back to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/TonyMcKenzie.com. No dots, note. And I checked today, there's 124 videos on there. In fact, this video that you're watching now is the 125th video. So rock and roll. See you soon, and thanks for watching, guys.